The best thing you could do for yourself during a breakup is focus on personal growth. Instead of obsessing about your ex, focus on healing your attachment issues. Learn the skills to repair that relationship. Learn to understand your ex better. And when they come back, you can reattract them in a natural, confident way. My workbook series and my creative healing course were designed to help you during no contact and to grow even if they don't come back. You can get them on my website, askcraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about dealing with the judgment of friends and family after a breakup.
This is one of those things that are hard to face after a breakup.
Yeah, it's really tough because a lot of times they are very invested in your relationship, and obviously they're invested in you, and they're going to be very opinionated. Now, first of all, I just want to say you got to be very, very careful when listening to their advice. I'm constantly hearing people going to friends and family and getting bad breakup advice.
Right. And there are some people, like you said, who are so invested that they want to guide you through the breakup. They want to tell you exactly what to do and what to say and how to react and how to respond. And when you're in a vulnerable state, I can see how that can feel helpful because you might not know what to do. But I really want you to think about just the repercussions of some of that advice.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of bad advice you're going to hear after a breakup. So please be very careful when you're trying to figure things out. I know how much anxiety you have, but if you're hearing them say things that we're not talking about on the channel, it's probably because it's not going to work for you.
Yeah, just be careful.
Yeah. So one of the things you're going to be experiencing, and your ex too, is how they're going to be perceived, how you're going to be perceived afterwards. You know, maybe you feel bad about yourself or embarrassed that you got dumped. I mean, it's embarrassing, right? You might feel like you're weak or not worthy. You might feel like you look desperate, and you may be doing desperate things, and your ex could be telling other people about those desperate things, so be careful. You lose a lot of emotional self-control. You know, I put out a video the other day with somebody who had done a drone.
Oh
yeah, you weren't here for that one.
Ooh.
Yep, he was doing a drone to spy on his ex. There was a lot of people in the comments about that one.
I don't know the legality of that.
Yeah,
it doesn't
exactly.
sound
Right?
too legal.
Yeah. But you're going to really beat yourself up. You might feel like you're stupid or that you were foolish, you were naive. Maybe you're going to be thinking, well, everybody told me that it wasn't going to work out, or they were up to no good or something. And you're going to feel like you missed something or that you were delusional about the situation.
And it's hard because you want to be able to trust your friends after a breakup. They're typically the first people that you go to. They're the ones that you vent to. And so you are very vulnerable around them just with what happened. And of course, they're only going to hear your narrative. So however you see the situation, just as your ex is going to tell their narrative. And there's nothing that you can do to control their side of the story, which is one of those things that you have to accept.
Yeah.
Friends and how they respond is really interesting because a lot of times friends, they just want to protect you. They see you upset, they see you sad, they see you hurt, and that if they're a good friend, if they're a close friend, they're going to feel bothered by that. It's not a comfortable feeling to see the people that you love be in any kind of pain, emotional, physical, or otherwise. And so a lot of times they'll try to do anything to prevent you from feeling that, which may include, hey man, let's move on. Let's forget about it. Let's do something to distract yourself and not think about it. And while that can be immensely helpful sometimes, you also have your own process to go through, and grief is one of those things that you can't ignore. So it's important to have a strong support system. And in a lot of ways, our support system can protect us. If we're leaving a relationship that wasn't good for us, sometimes our friends can bring that to light, in ways that we probably wouldn't have been able to see on our own. But on the flip side, sometimes our friends only know one side of the story.
Yes, that's big. Let's be honest, guys. They don't know what's happening with the arguments between you two, or how you may have neglected their needs. So a lot of times your ex will kind of downplay what you may have done to hurt them.
Right. Everybody loves to be the hero in their own story.
Yeah. Even Emperor Palpatine was like that. You're like, what's an Emperor Palpatine?
I don't know.
One
day,
day,
the hero in his own story.
One day she'll know. But yeah, people, your friends and your family, they're not going to look at the things that you did wrong and be like, yeah, that was really messed up and I could see why they left. They're going to downplay, they're going to minimize, and then they're going to, talk about how great and wonderful you were. It's not going to be an even balance, is what I'm saying.
Right, most of the time, unless you have those friends that are very cutthroat and will tell you how it is, which sometimes you need those friends too. But yeah, a lot of the time they don't want to see you in that pain. And so it's hard for them to have just a good picture of what the relationship actually looked like. And you also have to think to yourself, outside of considering the deal breakers and outside of considering, abuse that may be going on that you tell your friends about, that they're like, okay, I need to intervene, I care about you. How often do we vent about the good things that our partner does?
Yeah.
How often do we go to our friends
Rarely.
and say, oh my gosh, such and such was so emotionally available today. They listened to all my complaints. They gave me a big hug. They made me feel so safe and comforted. It's not as often that we share the good things that are happening in our relationship. Sometimes, yes. And I wish we would do it more. But what I'm trying to say here is that our friends don't have often a full picture. Sometimes I see this in calls too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where somebody talks a lot about the issues that are going on, and in the end they're like, I promise we had a good relationship, I swear.
I hear that a lot too. But you have to hear the problems also to help navigate the issues and how to fix it.
Right. And oftentimes we go to our friends when there's conflict in our relationship for that support. And so, when we're feeling good and supported in our relationship, sometimes we depend on our friends less. So they don't get
very
the full
true.
picture.
That's very true. And it's not easy to stay balanced because it's like you want to hear what they have to say. They care about you. And honestly, you're just looking for advice because you're so confused. But you have to make the decisions for yourself. Part of being an adult is individuating and making your own choices. And, not being overwhelmed by what your parents may say about the situation. Oh, get rid of her. We never thought she was any good anyway, right? Like, you want to listen to that because, okay, maybe they're seeing something you don't, but you don't want to let that consume you and completely override your ability to make your own decisions.
Right. And even here on the channel, we give out a lot of advice, a lot of strategies. At the end of the day, your decisions are your own. We try to explain the best as we can why we think this is the way to go after a breakup if you're trying to repair things.
Yeah.
But we really want you all to make your own decisions and feel comfortable about them.
Absolutely. Except for the handwritten letter, in which case we shun you,
shame you forever.
and shame you, and Victoria writes your name on the wall, and
No.
she laughs at it every night when she goes to sleep. I'm just kidding.
No. Now, your friends and family, they will adjust. A lot of times they can see you trying to repair that relationship, or, you even expressing to them, man, I wish we were back together. And they're like, man, no, forget about her, forget about him or them or whatever it might be. So you can receive a lot of shame from friends from even considering to repair things. Your friends and family will likely adjust. Now, there are certain extreme situations where a family member, a friend might say, I'm never going to talk to you again if you're back with that person.
Oh, yeah.
Or, you're exiled from the family if you get back with this person. And that's one of those things that is so challenging to deal with. And this goes back to being able to make your own decisions.
That's right.
To have control over your own life.
Yeah.
And honestly, having self-compassion for yourself through the breakup is one of those things that can help you manage those judgments from others much better. Even if your friend says, hey, I think you're an idiot for doing this or that, if you say to yourself, I feel confident about what I'm doing, about my choices, about my life, because I know that they're my own, that's a certain level of resilience that you have to the judgment of others.
Or you could say, I know I'm an idiot for doing these decisions and many other decisions that I do in my life, but I'm going to do it anyway.
That too.
So I hope you support me.
But they're my own, right?
They're my own idiotic decisions. Right? I mean, seriously, we do things in life sometimes where we know it's probably not going to go well and make things worse. And you just hope to have their support and, there's going to be some judgment there, no matter what you do.
Right.
Whether you go back with them or give them another chance or you don't, they're going to have thoughts and opinions on it. And you just have to take that information and make the best decision that you can for yourself and your life. Because ultimately, you're the one that lives with the consequences every day.
Right. Right. And breakups are part of the journey for a lot of couples. There are a lot of couples that I've even known personally in my own life that have broken up several times and now are happily married. So this can happen. Relationships are messy. They're not always going to look super cookie cutter and how society, friendships, families want them to look. And that's okay.
Yep.
Each relationship story is its own. Sometimes we have to embrace the messiness of it. Embrace the messiness of it.
Embrace the messiness. I'm going to do that too. I don't know what that is, but I like it. We're going to embrace the messiness of this video.
There is a messiness to this video.
But listen, the bottom line is your friends are going to judge you no matter what, right? They're going to judge the situation no matter what. Your family is going to judge the situation no matter what. Regardless if you get back with them or stay with them, they're going to have an opinion. So ultimately, you have to be comfortable with whatever you want to do because you have to live with it.
Right.
They don't.
Right.
I mean, they might have some things to do with it, like a son-in-law or daughter-in-law, but ultimately every day, this is the person that you're trying to have a connection with.
Right. One thing that I really appreciated about my family is my mom would always tell me, if I ever said, well, what do you think about this partner, that partner? She would say, well, I don't have to like them, you have to like them. And that's something that's very true.
Yeah.
We have to be willing to accept our friends and their decisions sometimes too. One of the things I really appreciated about my family was that my mom would always tell me in response to me asking her, hey, do you like this partner or that partner? She would always say, well, I don't have to like them, you have to like them. And it's something I always really appreciated about my family, and I'm blessed in that way because I know not all families are like that. But, the idea of friends and families, they will adjust or you will adjust, right?
Yep.
Or you will make some decisions in your romantic life that might affect other areas of your life, right? But the importance here is that you're making your own decisions and that you're surrounding yourself with people that do support you.
Absolutely. They're going to judge you either way. They're going to have an opinion either way. So find that balance of what makes you happy and who makes you happy. Okay. All right, so hopefully this one's been helpful to you. And of course, if you want to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.